live in my sensitive empowerment community, which is such a great place to be in general as a sensitive person. And it's just really engaging to get to spend time with other sensitive people and be a part of, the podcast, because you get to be live. If you can't join us live for the podcast, you can look out for this topic on the HSP podcast today. It will be released about HSPs and addiction. We're going to talk to Roger LaRoe, who is an addiction specialist, and I really like his method. He is an HSP too, and I love his method of teaching resilience, and a lot of the tools he teaches are the same ones that I teach my audience of HSPs. So, and for those that are new to learning about me, I'm Julie Bieland, and I am a psychotherapist, and I specialize in high sensitivity. Hi, Kaylee. Nice to see you guys. If you're here, you sure can say hi. Hi, Gina. Love to see you guys here. We're talking about addiction and HSP. So part of what I've been seeing in this community of HSPs is that, we have such intense emotions. And if we've been raised with the inaccurate message that something is wrong with us for being so sensitive, and you're adding in, you're an intense feeler and you're told that something's wrong with you, it can be really challenging to experience life that way. And I do think that it's possible that a lot of HSPs may be trying to use substances to numb their feelings, to try to sleep, all these things, and possibly turning into issues with addiction. Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys here. Raven from Germany. I love it. And I just wanted to come on to tell you guys, we're going to be recording this episode live in my sensitive empowerment community on the HSP podcast. That's where we record all the podcasts. And it's really such a wonderful place to be. I hope you guys know about the community. And if you have questions about addiction that you want me to ask Roger today in the podcast recording, let me know. And if you are not able to attend live today, we're starting at noon Pacific. So that's actually coming up in just about 45 minutes. One of the things, or a little less than that, one of the things that I love to teach HSPs are ways to support our sensitivity. I'm a very highly sensitive person myself, and I was raised to believe that something was wrong with me for being so sensitive. And this is why I'm so passionate about changing these messages, creating this paradigm shift where we start to shift into a place that sees sensitivity as a positive. In fact, I've just been asked recently to talk to some organizations and leaders who want to actually understand sensitivity better and how they can bring out the gifts of their sensitive employees. And that really excites me because we need to create this shift. Good to see you guys here. I'm seeing you pop up and say hello. And hopefully you've been listening to the HSP podcast. Have you guys been listening? Do you have advice for emotional eating as an HSP? So much of what we struggle with, whether it's addiction, emotional eating, things like that, are really the core of it is being able to take care of our emotions, our intense emotions, and support ourselves through them. And a lot of sensitive people, including myself, I used to do this, and now I'm teaching HSPs not to do this, but a lot of us have terrible self-talk. We're very self-critical. Because we've been we keep getting these messages that there's something wrong with us. And so we start to talk to ourselves as if there's something wrong with us. And what I've always said is the emotion itself is 5 pounds, but the judgment about the emotion is 1,000 pounds. That's the part we can't handle, is the judgment of the emotion. So being able to replace this self-criticism with self-compassion is huge. There's actually a technique I teach. It's on my HSP blog. Hopefully you guys have seen that video. We've also done episodes on the HSP podcast about self-compassion. I definitely recommend listening to those. It is a skill building technique that can take time to grow. It took me a few months of regular practice to really start feeling it. And I had zero self-compassion when I first started. So I know it works. I've walked through this with many HSPs, and it's huge because if you're critical of yourself, if you're practicing self-criticism in your self-talk, you actually send alarm bells into your brain that it thinks that you're in danger. So it starts to set up your whole system to try to get ready to run or fight. That's the fight, flight, freeze system. A lot of HSPs can have that overactivated. And it is such a huge thing to work on. Like if you only do one thing, work on self-compassion, it changes your life, because what ends up happening is when you're having a really intense emotion, if you can support yourself through that emotion, so you're being a loving, kind friend to yourself, you will pass through that emotion much faster and it won't be as painful. It's absolutely huge how much it makes a difference to practice self-compassion. Such a big one. Oh, good. Yeah, you can relate to that. I'm glad you'll check out the podcast. I've been loving hearing from you guys who've been podcast listeners, how much it's changing your life, transforming you, empowering you, all of that. And it is essential for us to have this information. And I hope that you guys know about the letter that I offer, a free letter that you can give to your medical and mental health professionals about high sensitivity. That's on my website, or if you're on Instagram, you can just go directly to the link in my bio to see all that free stuff. Got the free sensitivity quiz. We have the free guide to calm your brain. This is a brain training technique that works really well for sensitive people. Very, very helpful. I recommend you guys get those downloads. Those are all free on my website. You can go to juliebielen.com or sensitiveconnection.com to just see everything. There is so much you can do, guys. I used to be kind of a broken mess in life. And it wasn't until I started learning some of these brain training skills that I teach, and also understanding the trait. You reframe every part of your life when you really understand why you're like this. And I always tell HSPs there's 3 things that you should do. Learn everything you can about the trait, and that you will find tons of information on the HSP podcast. We have something like 115 episodes now. We actually just started less than a year ago, and we already have 115 episodes. We're in something like 60 countries, 100,000 listens already. So definitely check that out and really look at all the topics that are there, because we cover so many things. Also, you can go to hspblog.com and I have tons of stuff on my blog too, where I teach you guys about the trait, tips to thrive, what works, how do you take care of a sensitive nervous system, all that stuff that is really helpful for sensitive people. So that is my mission, because I founded Sensitive Empowerment because I believe in you guys. I know your value. I know the value of this trait. It evolved for the survival strategy of the population. I mean, you have gifts that the world needs, and you don't have to change your sensitivity. You just need to learn how to support your sensitive nervous system, and it changes everything. I would never imagine that I'd be having the life I do now without having these kinds of support. And everybody who experiences anxiety needs to be screened for this trait, because most people with anxiety have this trait. And we have a sensitive nervous system, and the sensitivity is actually on a spectrum. So the higher you score on my sensitivity quiz, for example, the more challenges you might have, but also the more gifts you have. And you just need to learn how to support that sensitive nervous system. Taking daily downtime, taking daily alone time, time in nature, making sure you're turning that volume down of the nervous system every day, checking in with yourself, all these things. There's lots of resources. I have a video about high sensitivity on my site too, that a lot of HSPs like to share with people that are in their life, so they understand them a little bit more. So I just wanted to pop in here and invite you guys. We are starting live in just a half an hour in my Sensitive Empowerment community. I hope you guys are members. You can go to my website to join. It is an incredible place to be, surrounded by HSPs who are dedicated to their growth and empowerment. It's in a private space. It's not on social media, so it's not public. And that is intentional, because we want to be able to have these really deeply rich conversations and deep dive down into them. No small talk. we dive in like HSPs do into deep subjects and empowering each other and really supporting each other. And that's a big part of my mission. It's such a beautiful place to be. And we record all the HSP podcast episodes live in the community so that community members can ask questions. They really enrich the episodes because it's HSPs and we are, to be able to connect with each other and talk about these subjects. And we bring in HSP presenters. Everybody that's been on my podcast is an HSP. And we have something like over 80 recorded previous events that we did in the community. Not all of them end up on the podcast. We do a lot of video events too that go into the HSP community library. So that's available for all members. And there's a lot of perks with it if you are a therapist or a coach or a healer. I also have an HSP directory that you can get listed on so HSPs can find you. Because I want HSPs to work with HSP practitioners. That is important in so many ways. Nice to see you guys. Hi, Marta, Empath Nation, Valerie, Anna, Rara, Irene. Hi, everybody. Alexis, nice to see you guys here. And I love hearing from you guys. So if you have, you can actually Sydney, are you here? The sensitive Black girl. I'm so excited. Next week, we are doing an event that is for Black HSPs, and it is going to be with Sydney James, who is a therapist, and I'm super excited to have her on because she's really going to be this actual event. You don't have to be a sensitive empowerment member. If you are HSP and Black and you want to be part of this live event, please contact me and we can give you the link to join us. It's going to be wonderful to talk about this and support the Black community of HSPs. So many things that we've been covering. I love it. And, when you are empowered and working on the right types of growth and the right types of support, you honestly can make anything happen in your life. It benefits everybody. It raises your own vibration in the world, which is beneficial to your family and your community and the world. I have a dream that the more HSPs I empower in the world, the better that is going to be for the world, that we can change the world. I believe that because HSPs have big hearts. We feel strong feelings about injustice. We want to make change in the world. And I totally believe HSPs can be a part of that. I want to get HSPs into lawmaking and policy and reform, creating equality. We have a lot of work to do, but I know that we can do it. And in the sensitive empowerment community, we even have a topic called Be the Change, which is really awesome. So I got to get going to get ready for our live podcast about addiction. And I want to explore this subject in regards to high sensitivity. So hope you guys can join us. You can check out all the resources that I'm talking about on my website, juliebieland.com or sensitiveconnection.com. And lovely to spend a little time with you guys. I hope you're taking good care of your beautiful, sensitive selves in the world. Take care of yourself. And hopefully we'll get to see you in the community and you can join us for this live event that's happening.